I took a look around your head, and I discovered something. Something about the new Cyclops Serial Killings. Apart from Ota, there are 4 victims. Shoko Nadami, Renju Okiura, Iris Sagan, and So Tsujima. Who was responsible for these murders? Shoko was stabbed by Renju with an ice pick. Renju was strangled to death by Iris. So cut open Iris's body. But who shot So? It was you. In other words, all of these murders were committed by different people. There wasn't just one killer. That's how it looks on the surface, anyway. But that's not the truth, is it? There's only one culprit. One person. And that person is... Yes, you. The person in front of me right now.
You're blaming the commander of Abyss for this?
No, not Boss. The person inside Boss's head.
Can you at least try to make sense?
Alright, I'll explain. You know about the abandoned chemical plant in Kawasaki? There's a prototype sync machine there. You use that device to swap around bodies one by one.
In other words, the entire egg ends up being replaced. Mind, consciousness, memory, they are traded, switched.
I don't know where it started. But at some point, you got into Shoko's brain. Then, you got into Renju's. And got rid of Shoko's body. After Renju was Iris. You strangled Renju using Iris. After that, into So. Who you used to kill Iris and Ota at the cold storage warehouse. Now, you're in Boss's body. Inside her head.
I see. If you know that much, then I have nothing left to hide. Yes, I am the culprit behind the new Cyclops Serial Killings. I guess you can call me the new Cyclops Killer. Saito Sajima. Congressman Sajima's son.
What?
I researched Saito thoroughly, but I cannot find any images of him on the internet. He is listed on the family register, but I cannot find any photographs.
Before I do, there's something I want to hear from you. How did you know about the prototype sync machine? And not only that, you also seem to know what the sync machine is truly capable of. Why is that?
That's...
Regaining your memories, are you? Human memory is fractal. If you retain even a single piece of it, it's possible to recreate the whole thing. Pieces of memories are like roots that grow into every corner of the brain, gradually, slowly, taking its time. I imagine the same thing is happening in your brain right now.
A fractal is a figure with self-similarity. Allow me to explain. See this? Whichever fragment you cut, you will see a similar shape. The whole is made up of its similar parts. This is called a fractal figure. Memories in the brain are similar. That is what he is explaining. He is claiming that from a few pieces, you can rebuild the memory.
Parallel worlds exist.
That was me.
You imitate her well. From the way you talked and your body language, it was like the real Iris. Earlier, too, you almost had me fooled. Your imitation of Boss was perfect.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Let me define some terms first. A person's memory and sense of self. Let's call that personality. It isn't quite the right word, but it'll suffice. Now, transferring that personality into someone else's brain, let's call that parasitism. The one transferring is the parasite, the one being transferred into is the host. Are you with me so far? Moving on. Even after the personality exchange is complete, the host's memory isn't completely lost. About 1% remains in the brain. So, a parasite could use that 1% to imitate the language and behavior of the host. That's how I knew about the warehouse and Sunfish Pocket, by the way. Thanks to Renju and Iris's remaining memories. I'm telling you, it was me. Why are you making me repeat myself?
That means the Somnium I entered on Sunday.
That's right. It was me.
What's going on here?
Fine. I still have time.
Time?
You'll see. So, where do you want me to start? Like you guessed, my personality was in Shoko, Renju's ex-wife. That made calling Renju easy. I need to talk to you about something. He came over without question. I think it was around 4 p.m. I had him meet me at the chemical plant. I made Renju go to sleep. synced, switched personalities, and then stabbed Shoko's discarded body with an ice pick. I took Shoko to Bloom Park by car, using the old abandoned subway line. Must have been around 8 p.m. by the time I was finished. I tied up Shoko to one of the merry-go-round horses. After that, I used Renju's phone to send a Nile message to Mizuki. Then, I just waited for Mizuki to arrive. Until next Saturday evening, my personality was inside Renju. My next target was Iris. I knew she would be suspicious if I asked her to come to Kawasaki, so I asked her to come to Sunfish Pocket first. I called her a little before 5 p.m., and she arrived just after 6. I greeted her, then convinced her to come with me. That's when Ota saw us. Anyway, I put her in the car, then headed to the chemical plant. On the way, I made her take a sleeping pill. I knew she might run once she saw where we were going. It was around 7 p.m. when I got there, and I wasted no time switching bodies. After getting Iris's body, I used a rolled-up apron to strangle Renju to death. Then I put his body in an empty oil drum I'd prepared earlier. I put that in the trunk of the car, then headed to Sunfish Pocket. But then, something I didn't anticipate happened. Waiting for the signal in Akiba, someone knocked on the window of the car. It was Ota. He asked me something about being able to drive. He was surprised, to say the least. I didn't have time to waste on him. But I couldn't risk him finding the oil drum in the trunk. Plus, if word got around that Renju's car was spotted driving around Akiba, that would foil my plans. So, I came up with a lie. I told him that I didn't have a license, so he had to keep it a secret. That's what that thing referred to in Ota's Nile messages, by the way. And just like that, I managed to escape a bad situation and headed to Sunfish Pocket as planned. The rest went exactly as you already figured out. Sunday morning, I had a recording or some such thing scheduled. Oh, I am of course referring to Iris. I didn't want to draw suspicion, so I decided to attend as planned. I went to Lemniscate and performed my job. And when I left, I ran into you, Date. To be honest, I was a little surprised. Just the previous night, I was a parasite in the body of Renju. I didn't think Ota had seen me. So, of course, I didn't expect to see you there so soon. You were on to me, but there was nothing I could do about that. If I ran, it would only increase your suspicion. So I decided to play my role. The interrogation began around 8:20 p.m., is that right? Then you synced into my mind. But you didn't get what you were looking for, did you? As a result, you had no choice but to release me. I didn't want to go home right away. I knew there might be police waiting for me. That would make it difficult to sneak out at night, and that would put my plan in jeopardy. So I asked you to take me to Marble. I tried to find an opportunity to run, but then another unexpected event occurred. I got a Nile message from Ota. I knew I could use him. So I told him I needed his help and to meet me at Marble. He did as I instructed him to do. After that, I got into the van with Ota. But because his presence was unnecessary, I asked him to stop at a convenience store to buy me something to drink. When he was gone, I took his car and drove to my parents' house where I used to live. Yes, the Sajima residence. Of course, I knew I couldn't just walk up and ring the doorbell. Hello, Father, it's been a long time. I was also in Iris's body at the time. But I thought I could use that to my advantage. So I pushed on the intercom, and sure enough, my dad invited me inside. I told him this. I want you to come with me. There's something I need to show you. He was quiet for a while, but eventually agreed and got into the van with me. We arrived at the prototype sync machine around 11:50 p.m. By the time I was in the body of Sosajima, it was a new day. This was yesterday, early Monday morning. Past midnight. In my new body, I drugged Iris, put her in the van, and drove to a new location. Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse. I arrived around 1, then prepared for the show for a couple hours. Of course, when I say show, I mean dismembering Iris. Because of the temperature in the warehouse, it took longer than I expected to prepare, but... well, you saw it in the video. Of course, I didn't anticipate Ota would show up. What does that make it? 3 times that brat has showed up unexpectedly? That annoyed me to no end, and I took that out on him. Dressing him up in the polar bear was an impromptu plan on my part. I didn't mean to make you think he was the killer. I just wanted to throw a wrench into the investigation. Didn't matter if you found out or not. This all happened Monday morning. I left the warehouse around 3:30 a.m. There isn't much to talk about on Monday. Before noon, I used my old man's body to call this one Boss. You might not know this, but she and my father go back about 6 years. The two shared a terrible secret. Hinting at that was enough to get the boss to come running to me immediately. I injected her with a sedative, then brought her body to the chemical plant. I synced with her, exchanged our bodies, and after blowing my father's brains out, I cut his body into pieces. I stuffed the meat into a vase I'd brought earlier, then drove back to my house.